We are one day away to the World Cup in Qatar, and new evidence obtained confirms that the Qataris have been spending money on our politicians to keep them happy. Oh, it's all coming out now, isn't it? It's not just the likes of Gary Neville who are getting paid to go to Qatar by the Qatari government to talk about football on their TV stations. It's not just that, it's all the same politicians who are now suddenly coming out to show their, how virtuous they are. For the past few years, they've been getting all the hospitalizations and all the rewards and all the gifts from the Qatari sheikhs. It's brilliant. Everything is absolutely normal in the Western world. This is about the Qatari money in the United Kingdom. We've discovered that they've spent, this is the initial number that came out, £300,000 spent, over £300,000 on MPs from the Qatari government. But we found out it was actually over £400,000 overall over the last few years. MPs. So what they decided to do is that Qatar spend all this money to not just on gifts and presents, but of course to show their hospitality and to host these MPs and other people as well. It's not just politicians, other people from the West, to go to Qatar, to have the free food, to get the tour, the grand tour of the stadiums that were built on blood money and actual blood, basically. That is now reaching a new level. Look at this. The current MPs sitting in Parliament, 50 of them, so I'm guessing there were a few who are no longer MPs. That includes everybody from Lindsay Hoyle to Nadhim Zahawi, and of course, the likes of Gavin Williamson and Chris Bryant. I'm not really surprised about these two names. The chairman of the Standards Committee, Chris Bryant, they also accepted a total of more than £300,000 in hospitality, travel, and accommodation from Qatar. This is embarrassing. This is bad. Right now, because there is pressure, politicians are trying to say that, yeah, we should speak out against Qatar, human rights. But back then, over the last few years, there was no talk of this, so they just took all the money. They took all the goodies. Everything was fine. A further 22 sitting Lords have also registered similar claims for travel and gifts in the House of Lords since 2010. So only over the last few months, couple of months, that we've seen some discussions about the lack of human rights. But so overall, you've got the lack of human rights, but you also have the discussion about how they built their stadiums and the whole program. And two different issues, similar but two different problems. One is just a long-term permanent thing. One is a project-based problem. It's only recently that you see some people in the media talking about it. Some people saying we should boycott the World Cup. Some people saying that, yeah, we should do a press release against Qatar. Where were you? Over the last 10 years since they were awarded this nomination, the actual to host the World Cup. Where were you when you could have criticized them? When I criticized them it was 2014 and 15. When I was obviously speaking out against it, people were making fun of me, saying, "Oh God, Maya, you're just intolerant." Are you kidding me? I'm doing it because there are people in Qatar themselves, their own culture, who are being under tyranny, who are also suffering. And the criticism that we have with any government or establishments is always about the establishment. Any video that I do, anything I talk about, whether it's this country or America or Canada or South Africa, the target should always be the elite. The target should always be the people at the top with actual power, not ordinary people. That's not what we're talking about here. But right now, there is, of course, the bandwagon. Everyone's now jumping in a bandwagon. Everyone wants to say that they are virtuous or they're not going to Qatar. Some of them are, at least they're brave enough to say, yeah, I'm taking the money, I'm going to Qatar. Gary Neville. Shameless, absolutely shameless. Let's take a quick break and come back in half an hour. We're going to talk to you guys about the cringy friendship between Rishi Sunak and Justin Trudeau. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Maya TC and we are the media.